Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back. And what are we getting into today? We are getting into the Day of the Jackal, and we are back for episodes 8 and 9. So you know, I am back to talk about this show because I've managed to watch episodes 8 and 9. Oh my god, were they a doozy, because we literally go into the origins of who the Jackal is and the fact that Bianca's honestly kind of spiraling at this moment in time. So just before we get into this video, as I always ask, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so you know I'm doing videos. Please comment, like, share and do the good things that you do, because you know what, I continue to be on the road to 1k, and I do like to thank all of you newcomers that have come in and decided to join my renegade army, decided to be a part of the renegades. All 115 subscribers of you, I thank you very much. Anyway, so let's get into this video. So basically we get to see more of the Jackal and his background and how he became to be. Now the way that I thought he became to be is something tremendous happened, like when he was in the army, and that's how he got a taste for killing. It didn't happen exactly how I thought it was going to happen. So it starts when he's like with his platoon basically, and him and his friend are waiting for like these targets to come out of where they're coming out from. So he was definitely a sharpshooter, and his name was Alexander Duggan. So Bianca is on the right lines when she's trying to find out who the frick Alexander Duggan is. But don't forget, through the episodes we know that this man supposedly died. Yeah, he got blown to bits with his whole team. That's what we are supposed to know. So basically they're a group of people who've been put together to assassinate people on a certain list that the government wants to be killed. So they're a specialist type of service, and there's only a few of them. So we meet the man that's known as the Jackal, who is Alexander Duggan. Got it, good. So basically, as he gets a taste of what it could be in terms of killing people for money, because we know that's where he graduated to. Yeah, he is the be all and end all when it comes to assassins, let's just put it that way. So while they're on, as they call it, rest and recuperation, R&R, they're in a bar. His friend Gary is getting hella drunk, and this guy who comes in knocks into him, and it looks about it's about to get Larry. Now Charlie, even though, or I should say Alexander, even though he's seems to be quite an unassuming person, he's a very watchful person. And you could say that once he starts to get watchful in terms of what's going on, how the person's speaking, their temper and everything like that, while he's trying to work them out, he can look a little bit suspicious to people, because that's how he was coming off in this scenario. So this person must have known who the hell they were in the first place, must have known where they were stationed, what they were doing, and words got out about this sharpshooter Alexander Duggan at the end of the day. So this man's approached them for a client, basically wanting someone got rid of. And you do see them go to where it is they need to go to. This man is coming out of a bar. This is how good this guy is at shooting guns. This man comes out of the bar with his people in tow, so they're all kind of like, you know, his bodyguards. Nobody thinks that, you know what, someone so far away will be able to take your noggin out in the way that the Jackal does. And that's what he does. Well, he's not known as the Jackal at this point in time. He's still known as Alexander Duggan, you know, the army dude, but he's a very good sharpshooter. So he manages one shot, dead and done, right? They don't even know where the shot came from.
What if I told you a friend of mine would pay 10,000 British pounds, maybe even 15, for you to take care of a problem he has?
They manage to come back to the geezer, gets their money. The geezer's talking about how lucrative of a business that this could be for them, and says that there's other people that his boss actually wants taken out too, and each time the price will go up. But it's Gary who turns around and lets them know that, you know what, they won't be able to do that. They won't be able to be a full-on gun for hire because of the fact that they're still in the army and they still have time to go in the army. And if they try to leave right now, basically they will be like absent without leave. So the military police will come and find their asses. So they cannot leave the army. They have to complete their tour. Now, this for me, I would say, is when that is said, is where Alexander gets the idea of what happens next to his team and how the hell he can get the fuck out of the army without completing a full-on tour. But his team do some egregious shit. Basically, they do some egregious shit, which then gets the ball rolling in Alexander's head, and I will get to it. So basically, when I talked about, I didn't think the Jackal was born how the way I thought. He wasn't at the end of the day. So what happens is, in the previous episode, I did talk about how the fact that they showed the clips of this whole family that had been slaughtered and massacred. So I automatically assumed that that's how the Jackal did it, and that's where he got the taste for killing people and yada yada yada. Now, I was very much wrong. I could put my hands up and say I was very much wrong on that point. Very much wrong. So essentially what happened is they were out on the job, scoping the land. He's ended up killing one of the main leaders, gone back, put the pin on the person's face, as they do. Now they've got to go and find somebody else. So what it is these people are in their compound, and it's a wedding. There's innocent people there, there's a bride there, her family there, his family there, and they're enjoying themselves. There's people outside of that compound with guns, because, you know, you never know when shit might pop off. So they end up going down there. You see Alexander and Gary are literally sitting on top of a hill. He's got his gun out and he's waiting, and he's like, they're speaking to each other as it goes on. So the rest of the team have gone down to this compound to try and speak to these people, because they believe that the people that they need to get to are on the other side of that wall. So you can see straight away that the other people who were holding the guns, they don't mean no harm to nobody. You can see this straight away. So they're basically saying that they're friends of the British, but they're speaking their language, telling them to put the guns down, which they don't do, and wanting to get in to speak to the person that they want to speak to. So the ripple effect that happens at this situation is on the top of the hill, just behind where Alexander and Gary are, someone comes out, and you can literally see the light off their gun. So what he then does, Alexander, is literally shoots this guy from his position. But the ricochet effect of that is heard right down in the valley of where the other team are. So then they decide they're going to kill the people outside, which is what happened, because that set off a chain reaction. But rather than them killing the people and stopping it there and then going to find the person who it is they need to find on the inside, they decide to shoot up the whole place from the outside, shooting up all these innocent people who were just there for a wedding to enjoy themselves. So bride and groom dead, or her family dead, or his family dead. Basically, it's absolute massacre. And you hear them say, oh, what's his name has gone off again. So basically, this man went into overkill. His team command, in that sense, went into overkill. So then when they managed to get down there, what he then does to cover up what the frick that they've just done, because it was a massive faux pas, is call it in and say that these people came with AMPRs and tried to kill them, yada yada yada. They need an airstrike. So that's how they ended up covering up that situation, is they bombed the place to hell and back. Now, just before they bombed it, Alexander was able to see the carnage that they absolutely caused, and it freaking hit him. It sent him into some kind of spiral, because what happened next is how I believe the Jackal was born. Basically, I believe from that situation that happened there is how the Jackal was born.
It's lining up. Walter's fucking lost it again. It's a bit fucking west. We need to make this look proper.
Because Alexander then had an idea. As a means to an end, he didn't like what his team captain had done, so he was going to do away with this dude first and foremost, but also had the idea that that would be a means to an end for him to be able to get his ass out of the army to do exactly what it is that he wants to do in terms of killing bad people for money. That's how the Jackal formed. Basically, how this is sat down is the Jackal ends up taking his team out. They go out on some kind of reconnaissance mission. So they're meant to be somewhere, but there's a certain through road that they're going to take. So what happens from there is Alexander gets them to stop at a certain point, believing that he may see an IUD on a mound on a type of hill. But they don't realise that actually it is a freaking trap for Alexander to do what it is that he needs to do. So they get Alexander to go and investigate it. At first, they were telling somebody else to go with Alexander in that investigation, but he said, no. I will take Gary with me instead. So Gary is his right-hand man when he's going to sniper, because he's his literally eyes and ears in regards to what it is that he's looking at and whether he needs to shoot. So he gives him instructions as he's laying there on them mains waiting to sniper someone. So of course he's going to take Gary with him because Gary's his friend. So he takes Gary with him, and as it is going down, he literally, this is how I say the acting was top notch, yeah, in terms of making it so believable and so real that these people are waiting around believing that this man is checking for IUD, when in actuality he isn't, because this man knows what trap he laid for the rest of the team. They're on the X marks the spot basically for him to do what it is that he needs to do. So as Alexander moves forward, he takes this metal detector with him, and he's checking for wires and any types of other like bombs that might be there. He knows they're not there already, because I have a vision that he's probably already checked this space out, so he knew exactly what he was going to do. So as he puts it down now, he decides that he's going to check by hand and puts in this like, it's what can I call it? It's kind of like, it looks like an ice pick basically. It's not an ice pick, but it looks like an ice pick, so it must detect any wires or live wires or whatnot. So he's saying he's going in by hand as Gary talks to him. So as he gets to the mound of that hill, it's not an IUD as he first thought, it's an absolute tricycle. But if you bury it in a certain way, with the wheels lying flat, it's going to look conspicuous to the person looking at it through the binoculars, and that's what he wanted, because that is the point where he knew him and Gary were far enough away from anything to catch them if it was going to happen. So before this man took this burner phone out of his pocket, I literally said, this man's going to kill his whole team. That's how it happened. That's how the explosion happened. He's going to kill his own team. And that's what he did. He ended up taking this burner phone out of his pocket. I don't think Gary even clocked that this man had a burner phone. Yeah. And as he's turned around, he's pressed the button and blew up the whole of his platoon. Like, blew them to smithereens. Gary's going off half shit like, what the fuck? Not realising your man there is calm as a cucumber. Like, seriously calm as a cucumber. He's not even panicking. So he picks up his stuff and starts to walk, and Gary's running after him saying what's happening. And now he knows, now it's time to hide. We have to hide so they will never find us.
Oh, Gary. What are you doing, you fucking loon?
I'm gonna feel my way from here.
Fucking tricycle! Okay.
But somebody so high in that government managed to lock this man's files down so nobody could ever access them, because Bianca tried to access them, and all they got first and foremost was a piece of paper which was heavily redacted, so she couldn't read shit basically. So as she then looked in to try and get in the rest of this man's files, Alexander Duggan's files, because she believes there's something off about this whole operation and this man dying, yeah, she realized that he is like, what do they call it? They call it a strat 2 type of closure. So you literally have to get official government sign off in order to get access to them files. Now, there is a reason why that little tidbit is very, 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 very important, because next comes Bianca taken with Julia, her upper boss, yeah, to speak to the foreign secretary in order to get access to Alexander Duggan's files. So he manages to speak to someone and gives her that access basically. But before we get to that, in terms of what it is that she reads, sees, whatever, yeah, this man who Rudy, or aka UDC, who's planning to, you know, release River. We know River is this app where people who are mega rich will stand to lose millions. People who are not so rich in terms of younger people, teenagers, and people like us really, will stand to know what it is, where the money goes, where our money goes once we've sent it out into to the ether, and how these rich people make their money basically, and where they're funneling it to. He wants complete transparency. Now we know with something like that, that was never going to come out. They were never going to let that shit come out. Are you mad? He must have known that someone will put a mark on his rotted life. Like, he's literally trying to expose rich people. Yeah, that was never gonna happen. Like, never gonna happen. So basically, when we see that the renegade rebel shooter had missed his mark, and so did the Jackal miss his mark, basically, he ends up, running back to where it is that he leaves, and now he's very much worried in regards to the situation that happened. Now my thing is how are you now worried? It's because someone literally made an attempt on your life that you are now, that Rudy is now worried, because at the beginning this man weren't worried about shit. It took them how long for him to actually accept security and accept a fucking bulletproof glass? They even said to him, please do your announcement or whatever it is, speech you've got to do from the comfort of your own home online, but he still wouldn't do that. He wanted it to be done in public. So now he realised how dangerous it is. This man's going mad about, how did you not know there was this homegrown terrorist within your organisation, and he wanted to do X, Y, and Z, and he was such a... At the end of the day, they gave this man the advice. They told him, he says, I ain't even worried about the Jackal right now. I'm worried about who's in the house. And you should be, because at the end of the day, no one is still going to want this shit to come out. So you should be. At the end of it all, Bianca still does not get her man right under her nose, and she still misses completely. So we see that Bianca as well gets the chance to view the files of Alexander Duggan. But it's her boss, OC, that literally tells her that you need to sign the confidentiality waiver form. The files do not leave this room. You have to read them in this room with me. I still think OC has some type of dealing somewhere, or is on form with Charles, Alexander, the Jackal, whatever you want to call him, because those are his names right now. Because of the text that came into his phone, and we still haven't got an explanation for the texts that have come through to OC's phone at the end of the day. So right now Bianca is flying on a theory, because even in the paperwork it said that Alexander Duggan died in a blast with his teammates. We all know that wasn't true. Those that watch it know that wasn't true. But Bianca's having a hard time convincing OC and Julia that this man is still alive. She's basing it all on a theory, so they're not going to really swing with that at the end of the day. So as we watch OC try and leave that room with the file, OC now is grabbed up by the man who's trying to find out who literally leaked information to Norman and got two of their people killed in Belarus, basically, because Norman knew that they were coming. So now it's his turn to be questioned at the end of the day. So we see also the brothers, the wife of Charles' brother, the brother is watching TV, and we see that the EFIT comes on the screen. Now me, as I've already said, this don't look like the Jackal in any way, shape or form, probably from the mouth part, but everything else didn't fit for me. But yet he called in the wife and said to her, isn't this Charles? This looks like Charles, basically. So she ends up going out on the phone to speak to Charles, right? So the wife speaks to him, tells her what the brother says, that, you know what, there's this thing, where are you now? Are you out of Tulin? What are you doing? And tells him what the brother has said in regards to the EFIT that come on the screen. As soon as Charles turns to her and says, tell your brother to not repeat that to anyone, she realizes, oh my God, who the fuck did I marry? Like, who the hell did I marry? But I believe Charles's wife had some suspicions about who she married? Because don't forget, you found a whole freaking lockup in the back of his office with different fascias, different passports, guns, money in different currencies, all sorts in the back of there. And yeah, not once thought, what the fuck is my husband up to? You literally, the wife literally got on a plane, yeah, with his suitcase, with his face, everything, for him to change his identity to be able to get out of, I think it was Croatia at the time. And you still do not know the truth of what's happening with your husband. So as she's speaking to her husband, she literally lets him know, you need to tell me the truth. For what I think it is this wife needs to know from him. She needs to hear it from his mouth. I think she already knows the truth, that this man kills people for money, but she needs to hear it from him and see if it will change anything for her. Me, myself, I think she's into a little bit too deep. I think she loves this man to the bones of her, and I don't think she will find it despicable, but she ain't gonna find it that despicable. She's gonna ride or die with this man. That's how I thought of it, to be honest with you. So basically, I don't think his wife was actually listening to the words that Charles was saying when he was saying, tell your brother not to repeat exactly what he says he saw in regards to that Ifit, because I'm telling you, if your brother repeats that shit, I will have to kill him. I will have to silence him. And I think that's where that conversation was going. Oh yeah, I was like, boy, sir, better you than me. Better you than me at the end of the day. So then we see Bianca's daughter come and to the home to see her mum. So she talks to her mum about the guy and believing that the guy, which is Norma's brother Larry, wasn't set out to kill her, basically. And she asked her mum outright, like, if she killed Larry's daughter, Larry and Alison's daughter. Now remember, Alison was the snitch that was giving her information in regards to Norman and lost her life to that shit, basically. Bianca basically says no, she did not, but she did. She didn't directly, like, physically, hands-on kill this man's daughter, but she indirectly orchestrated it, basically, with her involvement. Yeah, and she's also got Alison's blood on her hands too, because if it wasn't for her support, like Alison feeding her information, Larry would never have found out about it. Yeah, Larry wouldn't have the suspicions that she had, and Larry wouldn't have killed his wife over it. So in essence, she killed their daughter, she killed his wife too, basically. She may tell her daughter that, you know, I only do good things and bad things, but the stuff that she does is made of nightmares. But Bianca just does it legally. As I keep saying, she's as bad as the Jackal, but she does her shit legally at the end of the day. So, and again, she tells her daughter that she doesn't kill people. Daughter does not look convinced by that in the slightest. So they end up going to Wakefield prison. Bianca decides to pay Norman's brother Larry a visit, because that's where they've put him. So Bianca is basically wanting to apologise to him wholeheartedly in regards to what happened to his daughter and his wife, but not realizing that, you know what, you, Bianca, are not squeaky clean in all of this. You're not squeaky clean. And to be honest, he does tell her, I am bad and rotten, but then so are you, which is the truth. Bianca is bad and she's rotten, but she doesn't want to accept that. She doesn't literally want to have that self-realization that, you know what, I am not a hero, I am a supervillain. Bianca is a full-on supervillain, but she doesn't want to accept that. So basically, you see Larry, and he has a shank pulled out under the table. So I thought, oh shit, he's gonna kill her, and she ain't gonna even see it coming. But what he does is he gets up instead and slices his own throat. So he kills himself in front of her. So she literally has blood on her hands from his death, because that is the culmination of the pattern of her involvement in each and every one of their lives. She's killed off a whole family. Like, seriously, people don't realize this woman killed off a whole family. The daughter died, yeah, because she ended up killing herself because Bianca put her in a situation that she really could not cope being in. Alison, who's her mother, ended up being killed by the husband because, again, he found out that Alison was feeding information to Bianca. He fucking strangled her to death. Norman, who's the brother, yeah, who built the bespoke guns for the Jackal, is dead because the Jackal ended up having to kill him because he didn't want him leaking any information to Bianca because Bianca knew how to push his buttons. And don't forget, each and every one of these people were killed with her involvement. She was involved in each and every one of their deaths. Let's not get it twisted. And then you've got Larry, the brother, the last of the family members, yeah, slicing his own throat in front of her. Everyone seems to die or get hurt who's ever involved with this girl. Like, seriously. So it's the fact that she does not realise that she is the common denominator in these people dying around her. She really does not realise it. Her conscience starts to burn her afterwards though, yeah, and it's her friend who works in the same team as her that tries to put her back on track. So we end up leading into episode 9, yeah, and we see the billionaire has gone all security conscious, and the payers that find the Jackal, they've got their head spokesperson now having a go at him. At the same time, you see the Jackal literally stalking his prey, as we realise that the River thing app or whatever the frick it is going to go in launch in 24 hours. They're asking him what happened. I mean, they watched it all unfold on TV screen as to what happened. So this dumb question deserves no answer at the end of the day, because it ain't the Jackal's fault that someone decided to go freaking all out rogue, yeah, and then make a shot pop at this man. Because I don't think they seem to realise that when it comes to the Jackal, he will lay in wait until he gets the best shot that he can, and then he will run off at the end of the day. He couldn't get no shot in there, because once the first shot had gone off, it was absolute panic and they were able to protect this man, so he wouldn't have got a shot. And I saw it play out, so I don't understand why they're asking the dumb question of, well, what happened? We all know what happened. We freaking saw it. So at the day, you see that Rudy, UDC, is talking to like his person that he's with on some steps, who I think is his manager, but also his confidant as well. I still think that this man had something to do with the first assassination attempt, but that's just me. I just have this feeling that he did. So basically, he's telling this man that if anything happens to him, he needs to see it through, that River gets pushed out, River gets, you know, open. And this man knows full well that he ain't as strong as Rudy. He don't have the, you know, the financial backing that Rudy has in that sense to be able to tell the board that he's going to do X, Y and Z, because this man don't have the money to do that. He also doesn't have the fact that, you know, the board is scared of Rudy, so they will listen to what it is the frick he's saying, because he don't give a shit. He's got more money than God at the end of the day, so he's going to do what he's going to do. So for him to try and put this then on this man's shoulders, if anything should happen to him, ain't gonna work, because Rudy knows that that thing is not going to see the light of day if he is not able to man it going out. So you see Bianca is on the search for Alexander Duggan. She's still going down that rabbit hole. So for every picture that she sees of this man, it's either blurred or the faces have been blacked out, basically with the words deceased written over it. So she's not even any closer to that, because my thing would be is if they were able to show a picture of this man, it'd be too damn easy. I mean, it won't leave us waiting for more in terms of how does she realise that Alexander Duggan and the Jackal and then Charles are one and the same people. She ain't supposed to know that yet. So I think it would be too easy and too early for her to know this. So we see Bianca going to a hospital, and the person in the bed looks quite familiar, but I don't know if it's the command that used to command the team back in wherever it is that they were, because, or one of the ones that, because of the way that his face was, I don't know if it was one of the ones that had kind of blown up but managed to, you know, not die within that scenario. So Bianca does go in to question him about Alexander Duggan. Now this man doesn't want to talk, so it's what happened in Helmand. That's what it was called, Helmand. This man does not want to answer at all. He just wants to be able to have his pain medication and wants to ring the nurse. Do you think Bianca allows this man to do that? This is why I said this woman is a super villain. She don't give a shit about nobody's well-being as long as she gets the answers that she wants, basically. So she ends up getting the answers that she wants, which she ain't no further forward at the end of the day. And the Jackal is researching the weapons that he needs to use in order to get in at least shooting distance of the target that he wants. And the way in which he does it, I'm gonna say, is fucking epic. Like, absolutely epic. I would want this man in my corner if anything was to pop off. I would want a man like the Jackal in my corner at the end of the day, because yeah, he did not come to play. He was not playing in the slightest. So Bianca goes to her manager Julia, her higher up manager, higher than OC basically, to let her know what she'd found out about Alexander Duggan basically, and the fact that now Gary's name has come into the mix, which was Alexander Duggan's right hand person when he was in Helmand. So I'm like, okay, they're closing in. At this point, are they really going to find out who literally Alexander Duggan is? Don't forget, we've only got one more episode to go, which is coming on Thursday. We've only got one more episode to go, because we need to see how this episode will end, to know whether or not, you know what, it's going to all come to a penultimate finale when episode 10 comes. Myself, I don't see it being an ultimate finale, to be honest with you. So Julia basically tells Bianca that the whole of this investigation, the whole of the team is being shut down. She's not prepared to listen to Bianca in regards to her hypothesis, which it is right now, and her theory in regards to Alexander Duggan and Cobbs. Julia can't basically say that yes, the cost of all of this should be kept open, should be kept running, because, you know, you have a good lead. She's not listening to her, even though they didn't listen to her in the beginning when she talked about how this Jackal managed to use the suitcase as his gun. Like, even though she didn't listen to her and she knows this woman finds out information that they don't know, investigation shut down completely. Now, I believe there was a rhyme and a reason to why the investigation shut down there, and I will come to it very, very, very soon. So basically, you see that Charles goes home, and I'm like, so is it going to be a showdown with his wife and everyone else? We'll see what happens. So as he comes through the house, though, the weird thing to me was he goes past his son's room, finds his little baby son literally sitting out of his car in the middle of the room playing with toys. Yeah. His wife is outside at first, watching them on the baby cam, watching him interact with the son, talk to the son, things like that. And I'm like, so how long were the fuck you sitting there knowing that your son was awake in the middle of the night and you ain't gonna tend to him? I felt that was hella weird. That was hella weird for me. Like, seriously weird, because the woman didn't move. She was just watching them. So all I can say is Charles will never lead a normal life, and neither will his wife at the end of the day. When she knows the truth of the situation, yeah, that will be it. She can never then remain ignorant to what it is that her husband does, was, or has been. Let's just put it that way. I would have rather have remained ignorant, to be honest with you. So the wife does end up catching up with Charles as he comes downstairs after he's put the son to bed and yada yada yada. So she basically wants to know the truth of it. She basically wants to know who he is. Charles, of course, doesn't answer her directly. Like, seriously doesn't answer her directly. So basically she wants to know if everything that was with them, like the marriage, her life with him, the things he said to her, him being her wife, and them having a son, was it all a lie? I don't think for Charles it was a lie at all. Charles wanted a connection with somebody that would be able to ground him to a world that he actually does covet, because I don't think he wants to carry on being the Jackal, if I'm well and truly honest with you. He wants that normal life, and I think his wife and his son gave him that slice of reality that he actually wanted, but the Jackal is something completely different. So she turns around and says to him, "Do you kill people for a living?" My first thought was, tell her the truth, Charles. She needs to hear it from your mouth at the end of the day, which is what he did. So she turns around and swipes up on the screen, and you see the composite drawing of him on a newspaper article, and she says, "Is that you?" He admits basically that he kills people for money, and she's living the lifestyle from it at the end of the day. But he didn't really necessarily give her that impression that, you know what, I kill people for money for you to have this lifestyle. So, but I do rate her because she doesn't back down. She doesn't back down from Charles at all, even to the point when Charles shouts in her face and says, yes, I kill people for money. Is that what you want to hear? Is that enough? At this point, I believe the reaction that she gives is she literally sees her husband for who he is. She sees who Charles is, basically. Even though she must know that Charles is not his real name, but he ain't told her that shit yet.
Is this you?
Yeah.
You kill people for money?
Yeah.
Say the words.
I kill people for money! Is that what you want to hear? Is that enough?
So you see it fly back to Bianca trying to speak to OC, who is the person that's just above her but not as high as Julia, about Duggan and Cobbs, because basically she wants OC to literally give her the okay, the green light, in order to keep this going. OC was having none of it, and he tells Bianca to just shut the fuck up. He is not having this conversation with her. I was like, okay, so OC has got scared enough right now in regards to the upper people finding out that he has had conversations or text messages from someone in America, and he's deleted those text messages to the point of saying, I need to protect myself right now, so whatever it is that you want to talk to me about, this situation is not going to happen. So he literally has stepped back completely. Bianca is not getting it at all, and this is why I'm saying the higher ups, it's the higher ups in the government that know the sneaky shit that they're pulling right now. So they're literally were the ones that had their hands in shutting down this whole investigation, and there's a rhyme and reason to it. So all I would say to you is, don't forget that Bianca talked to the foreign secretary in order to get access to Alexander Duggan's files. Now, as time goes on, you see Bianca now goes to see her husband at the ex-wife home, which of course is weird, and the fact that she ain't spoke to her husband in how long. And it was her daughter that in the previous episode that had to go and find her ass at the house. She didn't like eggs herself up and go and say, I want my family back in any way, shape or form, basically. So what Bianca's looking for is, because she ain't got what she want from Julia, she ain't got what she want from OC, she's now looking for sympathy in regards to her job and the stresses and strains that she's going through right now. So I think she went to her husband as a last resort, which didn't come over too well with this man. They talk about like the time that she's had with him, how she feels about him, and she turns around and says that she misses him and he misses her, basically. So it's kind of what happens next. And like, it was fun and playful at first, and all I kept on thinking is, please don't have sex in this woman's house, because that is not going to be the one. So basically they do have major issues in their marriage, and I think Bianca is not at the point of time to reflect well in regards to the issues in her marriage are caused by her. She's not willing to listen to it. She doesn't like to have deep conversations about the situation and the scenarios that are going on with them. So her husband basically gave her an out to the marriage. But my thing is will she take it? Will she honestly take it? So we go back to Charles and his wife. So he's basically letting her know that everything from now is done, it's over with, it's finished. But we all know he's got one more job that he's been paid for, partially paid for, that he needs to finish. So he literally tells his wife about it, what he needs to do. She walks off, yeah. But does she accept him doing what he needs to do is the question that I had in that scenario. Because she, even though she was mad and she was like, oh my God, and then walked off to go get coffee, it didn't ring that she was going to leave this man. It didn't ring that she was not going to allow him to go and do and finish this job. Because at the end of the day, they ain't going to want anything to fall back on their family and their kid. So you see the next day that her brother, the wife's brother, comes to the home. And I thought, okay, does he know that Charles is home right now? Because I'm thinking, is Charles going to come down and literally school this boy in the art of ever-loving whatever he wants to school him in? Because don't forget, her brothers literally stole from Charles. Stole his gun. Yeah, and now he's literally trying to put his sister in a situation that she does not want to be in, because he keeps on getting into bad situations at the end of the day. So the brother has gotten in deep in some shit with some nefarious people, with some gangster type people, and now he's put Charles's name in it. So they want to meet Charles because of the fact that he's saying Charles is going to be the head investor. This man talks too rotted much. He literally let these people know about the money that he had in his safe at home, and basically stating that how rich Charles is. That's why his mouth is going to get him into trouble. So he then turns and literally blackmails his sister by saying, I could have said a lot more about what I've seen in there, but I didn't, so you need to get Charles to come with me and head this up. So she ends up coming back, letting Charles know what's going to happen. And I knew from that moment on, things will never be the same, because in Charles's mind, how he sorts things is he shoots people dead. He kills people dead. I don't think he will kill the brother. He will kill the gangster. He ain't gonna go to that meeting, but he'll make it seem as though he's going to this meeting. He will kill the gangster in order to scare the shit out of the brother, to say, keep your mouth shut. Number 2, do not threaten or blackmail my wife again. And number 3, don't put me in shit that I don't want to be in. That's what he's going to do. He's going to send a clear message to the brother. So as he speaks to the brother and says, I'll be there and acts all innocent and everything like that, he looks to his wife and he gives her a certain look. And his wife literally, non-verbally, with her look, gives him the heads up. Yes, I'm happy for you to do whatever it is that you need to do. I was like, there it is there, people. There is there. I knew this woman was not going to leave him. She loved this man too much. She likes this life too much. She likes him too much. And now she knows the truth. She's literally intertwined with him. She ain't gonna move for nowhere. She's gonna protect her man at the end of the day, and protect her lifestyle and protect her son, even if it comes at the cost of her brother. That's what she's going to do. And we start to see things reaching some type of pinnacle. Yeah. So we go back into creation with Rudy. We add UDC, right? The board want him to postpone River coming out for a month. They don't want him to bring it out any way, shape or form at the end of the day. But Rudy is so arrogant in what he wants, and although it is for the greater good, he's not going to listen. So this man is going to get killed. That's how I felt. At this point, they are not going to let that river come out. They're not going to do it at the end of the day. So if the board ain't able to stop you from doing it, someone else is going to stop you from doing it. And this is what he does not get. So they say if he launches, basically the board is going to walk, and they're serious in that fact, because this man is starting to lose billions in regards to whatever it is that he does at the end of the day. So we then see, this is what I said, there's a rhyme and a reason as to why this investigation in regards to the Jackal was literally disbanded. There's a rhyme and a reason why Julia is now not going to listen to Bianca in her theory about Alexander Duggan and Gary Cobbs. This is why OC told her to fuck off, basically, and that he's not willing to talk or discuss this situation, because we see the Foreign Secretary now. The Foreign Secretary, not forgetting, is the person that Bianca went to in order to have access to Alexander Duggan's history, his background, and everything in his army life and the situation that happened around him. He also knew that Bianca was thinking that this would help in the investigation against the Jackal. So what happens here is the Foreign Secretary meets with the people who have actually hired the Jackal to kill Rudy. The Foreign Secretary knows all about them hiring the Jackal to kill Rudy, because he asked them, and I quote, well, where is the Jackal now? So they're getting their dirty deeds done. So the Foreign Secretary had that whole shit shut down for the Jackal to do what it is they needed them to do. Yeah, so the Jackal is kind of protected by the government in process right now. They don't want him to be discovered. They don't want him to be arrested, because they need Rudy killed to stop River from coming out. So each deficit meets an end. This is what I'm saying. It meets a means at the end of the day. So this is why I said it's going to be hard for Bianca to actually catch the guy that she needs to, because the whole investigation has been shut down. She can't investigate it no more. She really can't. So you see that Charles's wife's brother is waiting at the table with this gangster in tow. This man don't know when to shut his mouth, basically. His wife's brother has a big ass mouth, like a really big mouth, and this is why he needs to be scared fully into silencing his trap. That's what he needs to do. So as the waitress comes over to serve some more drink, this man literally gets sniped in his head, lands on the table, blood dripping out the lot. You see the wife's brother jump up like, oh my god, what the hell just happened? And then has the realization that, shit, I know who did this. Yeah, keep your mouth shut, keep it locked, and don't ever, as Charles was warning him, come and blackmail my wife again. Come and put her in that state again, and then put me in a situation that I don't accept to be in. Because if you ain't gonna listen, you're gonna feel. And that's what happened with this guy. Yeah, so basically all I'm gonna say is how far away Charles was, and he took that shot. You would not believe it if you saw it for yourself. If you saw it with thine own eyes, you would not believe how far away that shot was at the end of the day. So now we know at this point that Jackal is now back in Croatia to finish the job. But my first thought is, will he get to do it at the end of the day? It's all happening. You see the clips going from Bianca having to decide what she's going to do with her marriage. You have the river possibly opening up in 24 hours, and you have the Jackal waiting for the opportunity for his next kill, his next and final kill, hopefully, because that's what he promised his wife at the end of the day. So you see Bianca waking up in her daughter's bed, and she scrolls through her phone and she sees the news feed of a sniper killing a gangster in Spain. She automatically knows that that's the Jackal striking again, but he can't have led them to Spain, because I believe that the Jackal, aka Charles, aka Alexander, will know that the investigation's been shut down. Nobody's coming to Spain to look for this man. That's why he took the risk that he took in killing this local gangster on his home turf, basically. So you see then the Jackal on a boat. He ends up killing the driver, because let's just say the Jackal has equipment upon equipment. Let's just put it that way. This man has left so many bodies in his wake, and I think hopefully this is going to be the last one that he leaves in his wake. Basically, the equipment itself is state of the art, like proper state of the art. He doesn't even have to be close to shoot Rudy at the end of the day, so he uses a bit of target practice. This is near to where the security is where Rudy goes out to the sea, because Rudy usually goes for his swim, and that's what the Jackal knew in terms of his routine, that he will go out for a swim at a certain time, how he will come back in, how the security will form around him, this, that and the other. So he knew all of that because he was watching it. So you see that right now Rudy is not playing ball in regards to his routine of going for a swim. He doesn't want to do it, but it's his right hand person that tells him to get up out the bed and says to him, you need to go, and your routine is you go for a swim, you need to go and do it. We see the drone fly over where the Jackal is, so I'm thinking, oh my god, is he going to get caught? So they do catch his boat and screen, but they also say that, you know what, he's outside of the catchment area, so he hasn't gone in to the part which is a zone where they've cordoned off. That would be a concern that the security will literally be alerted, go straight up and start investigating and checking the boat, whatever comes in. So he's out of that catchment area, which is really, really good. So Rudy decides that he's going to go for his swim, which he does. You see when the Jackal is looking and literally is about to take a shot, because the little navigation bar at the bottom goes green, but a boat comes quite close to where he is, and as you see the wave going up and down, it takes him off his shot, and then Rudy's already in the water, so he's not able to take his shot by that time. the thing that happens, which is so eloquent, in which the way this man kills this dude, and I've already let it out the bag, he does end up killing him, but the way in which he does it, fucking epic. Like, absolutely epic. It was skill upon freaking skill. So as the drone comes back around, it actually catches the sniper. But what the Jackal does, he has a jamming system. So what he does is he presses something, the whole thing, the drone over his boat goes offline basically and drops down. But before it drops down, it gives them the image that, you know what, there's this deadly ass sniper on board, and they see the gun. And then what it is they end up trying to get a jet ski out with security on to this boat. This man sniper ends up killing the guy in the boat. So the head security officer is trying to shout out to Rudy, the security there as well, to say, tell him to get under the fucking water, get under the fucking water. I thought, this is not going to work for you. It's not going to work out, because the Jackal has already had the prize in sight. He knows what he needs to do. He's been trained in this shit. So the security guard ends up pushing Rudy under the freaking water. And the Jackal, you can see, starts counting down how long this man can stay under the water. So the Jackal already knows how long a man of their temerity, height, weight, whatever, can stay under the water for. So as he's not able to stay under the water that long, you see the security guard about to rise up. The Jackal's already let off a shot, and it's delayed. So as the security guard rises up, he gets shot straight in his motherfucking head. Like, pop, boom, down he goes. So Rudy now knows, shit, I am in trouble. So what happens is Rudy then goes under the water to swim to get to where it is that he needs to do, because the head of security is still shouting, get under the water. So again, the Jackal is biding his time. So he has that gauge for when it goes green. So he knows the exact moment that Rudy comes up for air. He's already let off the shot just before Rudy comes up for air. He manages to smack that bullet in that man's head in precision format. It was like fucking popcorn. That man went boom on the sea. On the sea. I was flabbergasted. I was shocked. I was like, backside. That man really pop off the man. Like, seriously. He had all the time in a rotted well. All I kept on thinking is, how the hell are you going to make your escape now? Because Rudy's dead. He's got what he did what he came to do. Yeah, so he's going to have to get paid. They've killed that man. We know River is not going to come out now. It ain't going to make the rounds. So after you see that, you see, I think about 3 security guards literally chasing him now. His boat is further on ahead. Like, he's literally gone further on ahead. So I'm kind of like, the penultimate episode is now out next Thursday, and I'm of the view that it would be too early for them to catch this dude. Like, seriously, for them to catch this dude, I don't think they're going to catch him in that episode, and then we're going to have to wait for another series to come out to see what happens, because I don't think this is going to be the end of this series. It can't be, because I'm like, how do you get from him doing what he did there, yeah, he's managing to get away at the moment. When it comes to the end of this episode, you're going to get a penultimate episode on Thursday, because it's the last episode in a 10-part in a 10-part series. Yeah, I would think that would be too quick to try and catch this man and identify him, especially if the investigation is shut down right now, and especially if you've got the higher ups within the government protecting the Jackal right now, because that's what they're doing. They're protecting the Jackal, and they shut Bianca down, so she's not able to investigate this. She won't be able to investigate this unless they reopen the investigation. They say, yeah, the government says, yeah, it can be reopened. I don't see how they're going to find out who he is, or who he lives with, who he's married to, and that he's got a kid. They ain't going to be able to do that in episode 10. I really don't see it coming, but I shall let you know what happens once episode 10 comes, and that will be only the one episode that I do. But as I always say, my renegades, because I am leaving it right here, so I will say, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so we know when I do videos. Please comment, like, share, and do all the good things that you do, because I am on the road to 1k. Also, side note, I will be starting Marry or Move On, the ultimatum, so watch out for those videos too. And I'll say from now on, peace out, my people.